A 200-acre fire is burning along popular bike trails outside of Cataldo. People who live in the area are worried now about their homes.
A trigger of losing everything again. I've lost my home before to a fire.
Tracking changes in our weather in the form of thunderstorms, rain, and much cooler weather. All the details on that coming up.
Vacancies are down and rental prices are up, and that's causing more people to go month to month in Spokane. And that means your landlord can evict you without giving a reason.
Yes, that happens on a regular basis.
We start with the Williams Flats fire. It grew by more than 10,000 acres overnight. That fire is now burning more than 39 square miles on the Colville Reservation in Ferry County. For perspective, that's roughly the size of Spokane Valley. Welcome everyone, I'm Jane McCarthy. More than 24 homes are now under mandatory evacuation notices there. KREM 2's Brandon Jones met with some of the volunteers there to help.
The Enchilium Community Center has been running since 1974. Sydney Laramie has overseen the center for the last 6 years. So when a wildfire forces people to evacuate, she's more than happy to help them out.
I've lived here all my life, and like I said, we cruise down that way every summer, and we know people down that way. The animals, I was thinking of all, because that's our reserve, that's our game reserve. All of our animals, the elk, the deer, the bears, the moose, everything.
The center is normally a spot to get away from the heat in the summer, but after helping out with wildfire evacuations before, they were prepared for this situation. Food, drinks, air conditioning, and showers are provided for those who stay there. One family has already been able to reap the benefits while waiting out the fire. Tammy Palmer and her family packed up their belongings in less than an hour and evacuated due to this large wildfire. She's with her family, she's with her animals, and that's all she really can ask for.
We're very, very appreciative to the tribe for allowing us to stay here.
The center will continue to help throughout the fires. Reporting in Enchilium, I'm Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.
And that is the same fire that's impacting our air quality in the region. Right now, most of us are seeing moderate air. But at one point today, Spokane and Sandpoint had the worst air in the nation. In North Idaho, a 200-acre fire is burning just north of the small town of Cataldo. That fire forced a few miles of a popular bike trail to close. People came from all over the Northwest to ride and camp, only to find that the CCC fire was impacting their plans.
We felt a little bit threatened at that point. We were just kind of hanging tight, concerned. My husband immediately had us packing things up and putting them in the car.
Well, this fire started yesterday. We still don't know the cause. Right now, there is no estimate on containment. Well, Tom Sherry, a busy guy tonight between an air quality alert, a heat advisory, a red flag warning, and just putting something else on his literal plate. He's cooking tonight as well. Hi, Tom.
I am cooking tonight, and I think this is, it's been so darn hot that I thought it would just be wonderful to have just like a summer salad. We'll have strawberries in it and of course all kinds of fresh greens, and then you got to have a little protein, right? So we've got some marinated steak right here. I've got 4 of these bad boys, these sirloins, marinating away. I'll throw them on the grill. They're very thin, and then I'll slice them up really thin as well and just kind of layer them over the this beautiful summer salad. The salad itself is going to be wonderful. Let's talk about weather, shall we? And we have lots to talk about, folks. Red flag warning is in effect through Saturday because of numerous thunderstorms projected to move through the area. That frequent lightning could produce more of those wildfires, and of course the air quality advisory in effect because we've had mostly a westerly wind. It has been discontinued for the Okanagan Valley and portions of central Washington, so it's just everywhere east of Ferry County and east of that fire burning on the Colville Reservation that is still under that air quality alert. And of course we now have a new fire occurring over in northern Idaho by Cataldo, Idaho. Hot, 93 degrees. Wind is out of the southwest right now at 13 miles per hour. Take a look at the radar. You can see lots of activity now. We're seeing thunderstorms popping up on the east slopes of the Cascades, up along the northern border, up along Canada. Also some rain moving into areas of central Washington. And we're just now, when you take a look at the day planner forecast, we've got chance of thunderstorms continuing tonight, tomorrow, better chance tomorrow night, and Saturday. 85 the expected high on Friday. For the weekend, much, much cooler. And Saturday, I'm saying around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, could get really stormy. We'll look for a high of only 72 on Sunday. We'll talk more about these storms. One that's just now popping up over in Lake Coeur d'Alene, on the east side of Lake Coeur d'Alene, out where the eagles fly. We'll talk more about that, show you the radar coverage coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. And we're also tracking some breaking news. A small wildfire burning in Stevens County now. The North Mill Creek fire is burning 10 miles northeast of Colville. So far, it's just burned 3 acres, but you can see it's in heavy timber there. Fire crews are working to try and contain that fire. NASA is sending planes into our region to check out our wildfire smoke. KREM 2's Tim Pham learned more about what they've learned from the Williams Flats wildfire smoke.
Check out these photos. There's only one way to capture this perspective in a cloud of smoke over a wildfire. If you've seen planes from NASA and NOAA flying over Spokane in eastern Washington, you're not wrong.
We've been doing experiments where we look at the smoke as it comes out of the fire, and then the next day when we fly again, we catch that same smoke after it's traveled a state or two over, and see how it's changed since we saw it the day before.
This is Joshua Schwartz with NOAA. He joined me over Skype to tell us about the experiments. The agencies are investigating how wildfire smoke impacts all of us.
Improving our understanding of the sources of that smoke, the chemistry in that smoke, and health impacts and climate impacts.
For the last several days, they've had ER-2 and DC-8 planes over the Williams Flats fire on the Colville Reservation. The fast-growing fire is unique in that, unlike other fires where smoke decreases at night, this fire continues burning heavily.
Williams Flat has been pumping smoke much more steadily, and so it's been, unfortunately, a source of a lot of smoke. So we study it, but it has bigger health impacts.
The planes flying over our region are equipped with machines that take chemical measurements of wildfire smoke. Melinda Berman says this research can give us insight to the larger wildfire story.
And so it's really important that we're able to study these fires and know what they put into the atmosphere and how they affect our health impacts.
NOAA says the research and data will be published in about a year. In Spokane, I'm Tim Pham, KREM 2 News.
In other news, 6 Washington State Patrol troopers are suing Ford Motor Company. Their patrol vehicles gave them carbon monoxide poisoning, they say. One of them is from Whitman County, one of those troopers. The lawsuit says Explorer models between 2011 and 2018 have an exhaust fume defect, which allows exhaust to get back into the SUV. In a statement, Ford says safety is a top priority and blamed aftermarket equipment installed on the police vehicles for creating those unsealed holes. Well, the Spokane housing rental market is hot with vacancy rates below 2%, and a recent survey shows the price of 1-bedroom apartments in Spokane jumped by 11.8% compared to this time last year. As a result, more people on month-to-month leases are finding themselves with as little as 20 days to find a new home, and those new homes are proving difficult to find.
Last year I was diagnosed with idiopathic sensory motor axonal polyneuropathy.
For Tim Liu, daily tasks have turned into daily struggles.
It affects my sensory skills and my motor skills. I fall on average 3 times a day.
He knows his disease will soon force him from crutches to a wheelchair.
The laundry room's downstairs, garbage bin's downstairs.
Tim is a veteran, so his doctor at the VA wrote an order showing Tim now needs a ground floor apartment. Tim also inquired with his apartment owner about installing a wheelchair lift so he wouldn't have to move from his second floor unit.
The same day that they replied the denial, they also posted a 20-day termination on my door. What's going on? I didn't understand what I did. By law, they don't have to give a reason. I just was on a month-to-month lease.
Under Washington State law.
Jose Trejo is an attorney with the Northwest Justice Project. He's not handling a case for Tim, but he helps low-income tenants with free legal advice in civil housing matters. Do you have people that come to you who've lived in their place forever and they're on month to month and they think everything's fine and then suddenly they get a 20-day notice?
Yes, that happens on a regular basis.
In Spokane, what's called no-cause eviction is perfectly legal. So if you're on a month-to-month lease, you could be out in as little as 20 days' notice, and the landlord doesn't even have to give a reason. A tenant can challenge in court if they believe the eviction was in retaliation for asking for reasonable repairs or accommodations. But the tenant carries that burden of proof. That's unlike places like Seattle, who have just cause evictions, where the landlord must provide a reason for eviction.
Seattle has just cause, so there are lots of reasons the landlord can terminate a tenancy there, including any violations of the lease that are significant, but it can't just be for no reason whatsoever. And so in Spokane, none of those protections are there.
Tim wonders if his inquiry about a wheelchair lift prompted his tenancy to be terminated. We did not hear back from the landlord when asked why, but we're told another tenant was also given a 20-day notice on the same day. But even if Tim's current apartment building were appropriate for a lift, Tim would legally be required to pay for it.
A lot of people are under the mistaken impression that the landlord's required to pay.
And I can't afford that.
Trejo says the super tight rental market only causes their workload to expand.
Because there are so many issues with evictions, and especially as we're moving forward into a very, very tight rental market, there are more potential abuses as landlords want to move forward perhaps with evicting people because they know there's other tenants available that may pay larger rents.
Northwest Fair Housing Alliance wrote to Tim's property managers noting that he's disabled, and under the Federal Fair Housing Act, he should be granted an extra 30 days to move. He was granted that extra time, but the clock is ticking, and in Spokane's tight rental market, it's tougher than ever to find a new place to land. He's still hoping he can find a ground floor apartment within his budget, maybe even from someone within earshot.
Unless there's a landlord or somebody out there that wouldn't mind a vet.
A veteran who is on time with his rent, and this time he'd really like to stay a while.
Oh, I'd like to think that I could sign a 5-year lease. The less moving I have to do, the better, because this condition's only going to get worse.
And I've already heard from a lot of you out there in the same boat. With the vacancy rate so low, it's really tough for people to find a new place quickly enough before they have to be out of their old place. Some viewers tell me they've been looking for months. Tim's rental management company has promised to help him find a new place. No news quite yet. Members of the Spokane City Council have started conversations with landlords and tenants to explore potential changes in housing policy. And those conversations do include no-cause evictions. So we will keep you posted on that.